So many young brothers and sisters ask this question with tears in their eyes. They wonder why their marriage is delayed, why doors don't open, why every proposal seems to end in disappointment. They ask, is Allah punishing me? Is something wrong with me? Am I cursed? This question is heavy, and it weighs on the hearts of many, but the answer is full of hope, mercy, and wisdom, because Islam teaches us that Allah is not unjust to His servants. Whatever He delays with wisdom. Whatever He withholds with a purpose, and whatever He gives at the perfect time. Marriage in Islam is indeed one of the greatest blessings. It is half of one's faith, it is a source of peace and comfort, and it is a means of building families and continuing the legacy of faith. Naturally, every believer desires this. But when it doesn't come quickly, when the years pass by and marriage is delayed, the mind starts to doubt. Yet, the truth is that delay does not mean rejection. Delay does not mean punishment. Delay often means preparation. Sometimes, Allah delays marriage because He is protecting you from someone who would have harmed your faith, harmed your dignity, or harmed your future. You might see someone and think they are perfect for you, but Allah knows what is hidden. Allah knows what the future holds. You only see today, but Allah sees 10 years ahead. What if the person you thought was your happiness would have actually been your destruction? What if that marriage would have led to pain, betrayal, or losing your connection with Allah? The delay may feel painful now, but it is a shield, not a punishment. Other times, Allah delays marriage because He wants to prepare you for the responsibility that comes with it. Marriage is not just about romance and happiness. It is about sacrifice, patience, mercy, and commitment. Many people rush into marriage thinking it will solve their loneliness or their struggles, only to discover that marriage itself comes with challenges. It requires maturity, emotional control, financial responsibility, and spiritual strength. Maybe Allah is giving you time to grow, to mature, to become stronger in your faith, so that when you marry, you will be able to protect your spouse, raise your children well, and build a household of mercy. That time of waiting is an investment in your future. There are also times when Allah delays marriage to draw you closer to Him. When you feel broken, when your heart aches with longing, when you cry in the night and raise your hands in dua, Allah hears you. Sometimes the delay pushes you to build a stronger relationship with Allah, to make more sincere prayers, to purify your heart, and to rely on Him completely. And when your heart learns to depend on Allah first, then your marriage will not be an idol that you chase, but a blessing that you use to worship Him even more. So no, delayed marriage is not always a punishment. In fact, for many it is a mercy, but that does not mean you sit still and do nothing. Islam teaches us to tie our camel and then trust Allah. That means you make dua, you improve yourself, you pursue halal opportunities, you remain modest, and you seek out what is good with wisdom. If marriage is delayed, don't let it make you bitter, let it make you better. Use the time to gain knowledge, to strengthen your character, to serve your parents, to help your community, to develop your skills, so that when Allah finally opens the door, you walk into marriage not as someone empty and desperate, but as someone strong, whole, and ready to give. There are brothers and sisters who married early and yet faced divorce, heartbreak, or abuse. There are also those who married later and found peace, love, and lifelong companionship. It is not about the timing, it is about the wisdom of Allah's decree. What matters is your patience, your faith, and your trust that Allah has not forgotten you. He knows the desire in your heart, He knows the tears you have shed, and He knows exactly when and how to give you what is best. Never assume that delay means you are unloved by Allah. Sometimes the most delayed blessings are the sweetest when they arrive. Think about Prophet Yusuf, who spent years in prison before being raised to honor. Think about Prophet Musa, who wandered for years before being chosen as a leader. Their delays were not punishments, they were preparations. And in the same way, your delay might be shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more deserving of the blessing you seek. Also remember this, your worth is not tied to your marital status. You are not incomplete because you are unmarried. You are not a failure because your marriage is delayed. You are a servant of Allah, and your value lies in your faith, your character, and your deeds. Marriage adds to your journey, but it does not define your worth. Do not let society, culture, or family pressure make you feel ashamed. Instead, carry your situation with dignity, knowing that Allah is the best of planners and His timing is always perfect. To every brother and sister who feels the weight of delayed marriage, take heart. This is not a punishment, this is not rejection. This is part of your story written by Allah, who loves you more than you love yourself. Keep your heart pure, keep your faith strong, keep your efforts sincere. Marriage will come when it is meant to, and when it does, you will look back and realize that the wait was not wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every moment of longing was building you into the person you needed to be. So don't despair, don't give up, and don't believe that you are forgotten. You are being shaped, prepared, and protected by the one who knows you best. Delayed marriage is not a punishment from Allah. It is often one of His greatest mercies in disguise. Delayed marriage is not a punishment, but often a form of protection and mercy from Allah. When we face delays in our lives, especially in something as personal and important as marriage, it is easy for the heart to feel heavy, and for doubts to whisper that maybe we are forgotten or maybe we are being punished. But Islam teaches us that Allah does not wrong anyone, and everything He does is for wisdom, mercy, and benefit, even when we cannot see it in the moment. Many times what feels like a delay is actually a shield being placed over you, protecting you from harm that you cannot yet see. You might think that a certain proposal, a certain person, or a certain opportunity is perfect, but Allah knows what is hidden behind appearances. He knows the secrets of people's hearts, their intentions, and their future actions. What if that person who looked so good on the outside would have broken your heart or harmed your faith? What if that marriage would have been the cause of your unhappiness or even your destruction? The delay, though painful, is actually a shield to save you from harm you cannot see. There are also times when Allah delays marriage because He wants to prepare you for the responsibility that comes with it. Marriage is not just about companionship, it is about patience, sacrifice, mercy, and building a family together. It requires maturity, emotional strength, and spiritual stability. Many people rush into marriage thinking that it will solve all their problems, but instead, they find new challenges they were not ready for. The waiting period might be Allah's way of making sure that when you enter marriage, you do so with the strength to handle its responsibilities and the wisdom to protect its blessings. This time can be a period of growth where you work on yourself, strengthen your character, learn patience, and build a stronger relationship with Allah. Then, when the time comes, you are not entering marriage as someone unprepared, but as someone equipped to create a household built on love, respect, and mercy. Another important reason for delay is that Allah sometimes uses it to draw you closer to Him. When you feel broken and desperate, when you raise your hands at night and cry in dua asking for relief, Allah is listening. That connection you build with Him in your waiting may be worth more than anything else you gain in life. Many people only turn to Allah sincerely when they feel they have nowhere else to turn, and in that sincerity lies the sweetness of faith. Your delayed marriage might be a way that Allah pulls you closer to Him, teaching you to depend on Him fully before He gives you the blessing you desire. That way, when you finally marry, you will not place all your hope in your spouse, but you will remember that the true source of peace and love is Allah, and your marriage becomes a means of serving Him, not replacing Him. It is important to remind yourself that delay does not mean rejection. Allah has written for every soul its share of provision, and marriage is part of that provision. The fact that it is delayed does not mean it has been taken away. It simply means it has been written for another time, and that time will be the best time for you even if you cannot see it now. Life is full of examples where people marry late, but find companionship that is far more beautiful and lasting than those who rushed early. The sweetness of a blessing often comes after hardship, and the wait can make the gift even more appreciated. Think of the many stories in our faith where prophets and righteous people faced delays before they received what they longed for. Their delays were not punishments, they were tests and preparations. Just like the one who plants a seed and must wait for it to grow, you may be in that waiting period, and Allah is cultivating something better for you than you can imagine. So, the next time your heart feels heavy and you wonder why marriage has not yet come, remind yourself, this is not a punishment. This may be your shield. This may be your preparation. This may be your time to grow closer to Allah in ways you would never have if things came easily. The waiting is part of your story, and it is written with wisdom. When the time finally comes, you will see how every delay was for your protection and your benefit, and when you look back, you will thank Allah for not giving you what you wanted too early, because you will realize that His timing was always perfect. That is why delayed marriage should not break your spirit, but strengthen it. It should not make you lose hope, but make you gain trust in the One who knows all things. It should not lead you to despair, but lead you to patience, prayer, and closeness to Allah. Because in the end, this delay is not a punishment, but one of the most loving forms of divine protection you may ever experience. Your worth is not defined by how quickly you get married, and your value in the sight of Allah is not measured by a wedding date or the approval of society. In a world that often pressures people into believing that marriage is the only way to be fulfilled or respected, it is easy to forget that your dignity, your honor, and your success are determined by your relationship with Allah and the character you build, not by how soon or how late you marry. Islam reminds us that true value comes from faith, patience, and trust in the divine plan. Whether you marry early, late, or not at all, what matters most is that you live your life with sincerity, obedience, and devotion to your Creator. When a marriage is delayed, it can feel like the world is moving forward without you, as friends settle down, families grow, and people constantly ask questions that cut deeply. Yet in those moments, it is essential to remind yourself that Allah does not forget any of His servants. If He has delayed your marriage, it is not because you are unworthy. It is because He knows what is best for you at this stage of your journey. Sometimes the delay is to protect your faith. Sometimes it is to give you time to grow, and sometimes it is simply so that the right person arrives at the right time, but none of this delay reduces your worth. On the contrary, your worth in such times is measured by how you respond, with patience, with dignity, with trust, and with continued devotion to Allah. Your patience is not wasted. Every moment you endure without bitterness, every prayer you whisper in secret, every tear you wipe while still holding on to faith, all of this is seen by Allah and rewarded by Him. The Prophet taught us that patience in hardship is one of the highest forms of worship. So when your marriage is delayed and you choose patience over despair, gratitude over complaint, and faith over doubt, you are rising in the sight of Allah. This waiting may become one of the greatest mercies in disguise because it allows you to build a relationship with Allah that might not have been as strong if things had come easily. Trusting in Allah's timing means accepting that what you want is not always what you need. We live in a culture that glorifies instant gratification, but Islam teaches us that the believer is someone who trusts the unseen, who knows that Allah's plan is always better than their own. If you measure yourself by the standards of people, you will always feel less. People will say you are too late, too old, too picky, too slow. But if you measure yourself by the standards of Allah, you will see that patience, worship, kindness, humility, and sincerity are what truly elevate you. What people call delayed may actually be perfectly on time in Allah's plan. Remember also that marriage itself is not the end goal of life. It is a beautiful blessing, but it is still one of many means through which we worship Allah. The ultimate purpose of life is to know, love, and obey Allah. There are people who marry early yet are miserable because they forgot this, and there are those who marry later yet are blessed with peace and joy because they remembered it. Your marital status does not determine your closeness to Allah. Your faith, your prayers, your actions, and your trust in Him do. Sometimes delayed marriage pushes you to find your worth in who you are, not in who you are with. It teaches you to build yourself, to develop your character, to use your time in service, to pursue knowledge, and to focus on your personal growth. This means that when the time finally comes, you will enter marriage not from a place of emptiness or desperation, but from a place of strength and wholeness, and that wholeness makes your marriage healthier, your love more stable, and your companionship more meaningful. What felt like a painful delay may, in the end, be the very reason you succeed in marriage when others fail. Look at the examples of many people who waited long and then found a spouse who truly matched their faith and values. Had they rushed earlier, they may have ended up in a relationship that harmed them, but by waiting, by trusting Allah, by holding on to patience, they received something better than what they could have imagined. And when they finally experienced it, they understood that the delay was never a punishment, it was a preparation and a mercy. So if your marriage is delayed, do not let anyone make you feel small. Do not let culture, society, or comparisons take away your peace. Stand tall knowing that your worth comes from Allah and your patience is being recorded by Him. Use this time wisely. Build your faith, strengthen your skills, serve your family, engage in worship, and prepare yourself for the future. And most importantly, keep making dua with hope, because Allah loves those who call on Him with persistence. One day, when you look back, you will see that this season of waiting shaped you, protected you, and brought you closer to Allah. And you will realize that it was never a punishment, it was a blessing in disguise. You will thank Allah for not giving you what you wanted when you wanted it, because He gave it to you when it was best. And if you never marry, know that your worth is still untouched, your faith still valid, your rewards still abundant, and your place with Allah still secure. For in the end, it is not how quickly you marry that defines you. It is how deeply you believe, how patiently you wait, and how sincerely you trust in Allah's perfect plan.